Hey, what's up everyone? This is Soul with another video, and today we're going to go over, well, I guess the most high demand crafted items that we might see in early access housing when it comes out in a few weeks. This is an unscripted thing. I'm gonna be kind of ranting here and there, but I'm gonna be going over items that I handpicked, and I decided, well, you know what? I think people are probably going to want to either try to make those on the auction house and sell them, but at the very least, there's going to be things that people will want to not just make, but maybe make multiples of. And I think that's kind of the secret to trying to, if you're trying to make money off of crafting decor, you want to go for things that are, well, not exactly easy to make, but at least ones that you know are going to sort of fly off the shelf for the most part. Please like the video, subscribe for more stuff. I'm going to be going over 84 items. There's kind of a lot that I handpicked from the massive list of other profession decor. Just keep in mind that, I'm going to be doing commentary as I go. I'll be doing this by profession. And I'm going to provide I'm going to show on screen how much things costs and what have you. And also this particular set here, I'm going to provide a link so you can see this for yourself in case this video is just way too long and you want to, take a look at this for yourself. But hey, stick around for the commentary. I'd very much appreciate it. And let's get right to it, starting with Alchemy, because we're going to be going in kind of profession order. I'll try to section this off. And we'll start off with taking a look at this Borealis bottle lamp. So I picked this one because it is a relatively small light source, the kind of thing that you might want to put onto a table for the most part, or it can be used as like a small light source that you can inject or you can kind of phase into other objects. That way you can provide a glow behind a window or a painting, or to just provide, just a little something that's a little bit harder to, a little bit easier to hide. I'm going to be doing lots of little commentary here and there, and not too expensive. It's going for lumber, which right now you can, for the most part, farm maybe like 1 to up to 3 pieces of lumber per cast, and it's going to be a lot of lumber farming that people will do, but otherwise it's pretty cheap on the material cost, and the kind of thing that people might want to have multiples of, like in their room or something like that, to highlight kind of a tighter and cozier spot. The sin tallow candles fall along that kind of same vein if you wanted to have something a little bit small, but something that is a bit more, well, obviously candle looking. Kind of sucks that there's no base for it. So there's obviously like the spill over, but that provides a lot of character. So if they wanted to make like this cool altar of blood or something like that, then they can have like a whole bunch of these like all piled up in several spots, and that could possibly pull off a cool vibe. So I can see people picking up like at least like 3 or 4 of these so they can make some sort of set piece. So this is a starry scrying pool, and the reason why I picked this is not exactly because of the actual pool, but because of the light source that it gives off. So what you can do is just kind of clip this into the ground, and then you can keep just this effect. So if I were to, let's pretend I resize it and then I hide it somewhere. If I have it down here, then all of a sudden, ooh, we have this cool little glow that we can apply, coming out from the ceiling or the walls or the floors or whatever. So I think this might be a cool effect if people wanted to use this for something. If they can figure that out, this could be a fairly high demand item. The Stoppered Black Potion, it's nothing too, super impressive, but it's very much something that's needed if you want to have like anything where you want to have like multiple bottles, if you're an apothecary or an alchemist, or just if you have it's just something cool to have and something to like fill up some extra space. So I can imagine people wanting to pick up at least like a couple of these. The Strangled Kelp Sack is, it's very 2004. You know what I mean? It's very 2004, but it's the kind of thing that you would probably want to have, like, let's say if you have a pantry, or if you're doing like a market stall or something like that, you may want to have like at least one of these like chilling around. If it's really big, then that might look a little bit unimmersive, but at least having like 1 or 2 of these, or even like has like a small pouch lying on a table or something like that, so it can be a little bit smaller and a little bit more high res looking, that would at least be more convincing. It wouldn't like stand out as much. Now this is the Verdant Valdrakken vase, which is much, much prettier than the Stranglekelp thing we were looking at just earlier. But you can see the cost is pretty darn high. You're looking at 28 lumber and then like some other stuff that I kind of don't really remember very well anymore. But this one's cool. I mean, you can have this thing as like it's meant to be like, I guess, kind of small, but you can size this up and make it into something you can have in the corner of the room, or if you just want to have it on a table as well, that's totally cool too. I think this wine barrel might be a popular one. I mean, it's a wine barrel, but also it's a cup if you wanted it to be something like that. And that's not a big thing of grapes. That's kind of like a blackberry of some sort if you just want it to be that small. So I can see something like this like sitting in the tavern or like a winery or whatnot, whether again you're using it as an actual barrel of stuff or like as a cup or a beverage. Of course, with bottles, you got to have like a little pile of bottles. This is the Zandalari bottle shipment, and this kind of gives you an idea of, hey, if you wanted to have this like accent place where you're storing a bunch of food, drinks, poison, whatever, like any of that will do just fine. Now, this is a very attractive piece if you just wanted to have like, the King's Goblet on your main table or something like that. This is a pretty high-res version or just a high-res cup, although it's not really because of the whole shape, but no, it's still pretty convincing. If you want to just have this on your desk as like a special piece for just you, while the rabble, they get like plain alchemy bottles, sure, that's fine. Or you can just buy a bunch of these and have one for everyone in your guild or your party. That's cool too. The Brennidum grinder doesn't seem like much of anything, so I think this is one of those choices where I decided to put this thing here just for myself. This is something that I'll probably pretend like, oh yeah, this is definitely for the coffee shop. This is my bean grinder. Yeah, beans go in there and then it spits out stuff and then it goes into the espresso machine. I pull shots and what have you. There we go. So I know I would at least want one of these. And maybe you do too. This Pandoran fireplace is just a very cool fireplace. This is pretty unique. It's something that you don't really need to have against the wall because it's something that can stand on its own. So it's a really, really cool design. And you can probably do other things with these too. You can stack them on top of each other. You can shape them. You can turn it into something that may not be like entirely like a furnace, but like something a little bit smaller, which I don't know what it would be for. But maybe you can have this like at the end of something, like some big container, and then this would be like right in front of it, and then you have like this large cylindrical piece that equals something or other. I don't know, but this is just a really cool high quality piece. Most lighting is going to be pretty popular. I think this one's no exception. This is the Pandoran Signal Brazier, and this one, it's a bit more opulent, decadent, whatever, but it's a cool piece you could have like at the entrance of your evil lair or something like that. But there's like so many variations. If this is something you're interested in, then you may want to pick up like maybe 2 or 3 of these. Something you'll definitely see featured in this video are variants of fences, which are bound to be something that people want multiples of if they want it. Now, like I said, there are variants of these fences, and this one might be to people's flavor if they wanted to pull off that Suramar or Nightborn sort of feel, but maybe not as well, but maybe so as well. Now here's the fence post, and keep in mind that this actually has a light source. The earlier link that I showed, it didn't show a light source, which might be a bug with this model viewer, but at least from the looks of it, you can have this as like an entirely separate piece on your own. So you can link something else to this or just have this serve as a light source. That could be cool too. So you know how I said the Pandaria Brazier was kind of opulent? Okay, this is just kind of a step up. This one features each of the colors of the 5 flights. This is the kind of thing that, hey, if you want to have like multiple of these and you want to just put it at the side of the entrance of a room or by your throne or something like that, that's cool. But this is like crazy enough that it can be an entire centerpiece as well. You don't necessarily have to have like this whole base. Maybe you can have this thing sink in and it can be like this, this very fancy fire pit of sorts. So this one's interesting. It is a hanging cauldron, and I wanted to point out how there is this, you have this like foggy stuff coming out of here, and I'm not quite sure what I would want to do with this because these ropes are in the way. And so if I wanted to like capture this effect, I would need to like obscure these ropes somehow, or like have this thing upside down to see if that would like do anything. But otherwise, it's kind of just kind of an interesting way to have like, hey, here's a pool and it's like suspended on ropes, or it can be a cauldron like it originally is listed as. Okay, in the cooking section, it's going to be pretty self-explanatory. I'm just going to kind of like, give you guys a bit of a 3D look, show you the ingredients, or I'm sorry, the materials, and that'll be it. Who wants lobster, right? I know for me, I'm not going to care too much about having like a big old beef steak kind of set. Like the first room that I want to make in my place is a cafe. So I'm going to be having mostly like drinks and beverages, not, maybe small snacks, not exactly like full meals like this, but boy, this is a lot. 25 lumber. Just think of that. Yes, in order to make this food, you need lumber. That's going to be fun. Kind of interesting that this dish happens to be from Shadowlands. I wonder if this is like originally like an asset that we see from like maybe Tazavesh or whatnot, because I can't imagine anywhere else where we would see this. Okay, now I imagine this would be something that I put in the cafe, like, oh, it's a board kind of thing. But, there's like little bits of meat and all and honey and all that stuff too. So I think this will work out. Now, bread, not so much. Although this particular piece, I think it'd be cool to like make it like super big. And I don't know if it's going to be like too big, but it can double up as like this. Okay, not really a cake, but, I think it'd just be fun to have it like be really, really big. Okay, now this one looks way too good. I think the smoke might be a little thrown off there, but this one looks really, really good. It's very high res, for what it is. It's just food, but there's a lot of detail that goes into it. Even if I make it big, you can see you can see lots of like little details there. And well, I'm very impressed by it. Cheese is definitely going to go in the cafe, and I think people, who are making like a pantry or whatnot, they're going to want like at least a couple of these. They probably want to obscure like the slice though. If they're like storing it, you don't want to store like already cut open cheese. That's like kind of gross. But if it's still sealed and everything, then you're fine. This Draenor platter, this one doesn't seem bad, although it's a weird combo. You have like I don't know, chicken or turkey leg, an apple, and cheese. Actually, no, I think that's a fine combo. Okay, this one's kind of interesting. You have your bowl of, I don't know, like soba noodles, and you have sashimi and some uncut mushrooms and dipping sauce and lemon stuff to squeeze over it. This one's kind of interesting. Okay, so if someone's going to make like a dim sum place, they're going to need like 40 of these. No. Probably 50 of these. I'm just kidding. I'm not really kidding, actually. You're just going to make a whole bunch of these and just have them stacked all over the place. Even though there's going to be smoke billowing out of each one, it's okay, because they're all going to go like really fast, because it's 10 a.m. and now you got the rush. Okay, this is the last food one, I promise, but this one is also like a pretty cool high quality one. Although, is this like a dragon fruit? Yeah, it is. It's called wild dragon fruit. Okay, so that's an interesting take on that, along with, I don't know, this is like a non-meat kind of dish. Okay, so here's what is obviously a more shamanistic kind of breeze here, although the lighting effect is kind of thrown off. I'm pretty sure it's, it's gonna shoot up. But again, it's one of those things that you can like kind of sync through, and then if you want to have the effect, although I'm not quite sure what the effect is going to look like, but it's a very, very cool fire effect that you can possibly use for other purposes. Now here we have this very, very pretty looking Ardenwold lamppost. There's still, at the time of this video, there's still problems with lighting outdoors. And so most everything here is going to say, oh, it's indoor only, but that hopefully will not be true in the near future. But it is very, very cool. It doesn't quite show if it gives off a very strong light. You can kind of see here how it illuminates here, but I'm not sure if that's a lighting effect or if it's just drawn that way, and the rest of it is supposed to like project out. So again, I'm not sure, but it's a very, very cool thing if you wanted to have like, them like flanking on each side, when you're like entering the house or if you're going down a main road. I think we'll see a number of these sconces, which are lights that attach to a wall and then they hang down. This is kind of a simple look that you can have like just outside the house, well, hopefully just outside the house or inside, whatever you like, because hey, people's houses might be comprised of lots of caves, and this is one way to illuminate it if you wanted to have it against like a rock face or something, and it would, you know, it would fit fairly well. I think these glyphs are pretty darn versatile. Like they can be used on, you know, a number of things. They're like super flat, as you can kind of see there, but you can either make them big to create like some sort of, I don't know, this altar-like room formation, or you can have it be pretty small, and you can have it be like, yes, this is my enchanted cup, and when I hold it, it refills my drink, and it's like super awesome. So, you know, you can do something like that as well. So like this one, I can have it like maybe on the ceiling, or I can put it against the wall, and then Xelata's picture will be like right there. Okay, it would be there and there and there and there as well, but you know, kind of like that. All right, so to my knowledge, I think this is the only set of string lights that happen to come in this color. So if you wanted this kind of like Draenei Koresh sort of look to it, this is probably the only way that you'd be able to get it, and you might end up picking up a whole bunch of these. Okay, so how cool or awkward would it be to have like a whole bunch of these like staring at you? Because at least from the looks of it, even if I rotate it, it's always going to have the same orientation. So this might be a little bit tricky to place, but you can have it like hovering over a drink too, because it's your other enchanted drink or bed or stove. Like this is my arcane powered stove, sure. So here we have another bottle, but it's not really a bottle. Although you can kind of do something a little different. Like if you were to have, you know, if you wanted to obscure this, like have something over it or like box something around it, you can make like this kind of lantern, and then this would be like the main source or the main thing that people would be seeing. So you could possibly do, you know, you can create some other effects using this shape to start with. Okay, so this replica awakening machine, I don't know, like maybe people will want to make like a wall of these, which would be really weird. I don't think that there's like variations where you could have like, you know, here's like what, you know, here's like the female shape, and then I don't think there's a male shape to it. I didn't see one. But if you wanted to have these like stacked on a grid, just like how you kind of see it in game, that would be something. On the other hand though, you can kind of take this shape here. You can see the gears. This has kind of a cool effect. So if you were just looking at this, you can have this be used to like, yeah, the way this is shaped, you can kind of like jam this into a wall, so that way people can only see like this shape, and it just happens to be something that sticks out. So that could be cool too. Sorry, person inside or two people inside, you kind of got screwed. But well, that's kind of how it goes with housing. So of course we have a mailbox, and I think there's going to be at least one or two other variations we might see in this video. This is one of them. This one comes from Northrend Enchanting, although it's not functional as far as I know, but it really should be functional. Now, I think this bottle is very cool and very safe too. Now, the other thing too is that it doesn't have to be a bottle, and it doesn't really look like a bottle. You can, you know, you can take this bottom effect and then just have it placed elsewhere to do something else entirely. Or if you just want the spike, that's kind of something cool too. Like if you want, like, hey, well, what if I want this to like, I don't think I can orient this the way I want to, but if I wanted to have it to like the side or whatever, this can be like a toilet paper roll holder or something like that, right? And then there's just like red stuff that's coming out. No big deal. But it's holding the TP, and that's fine. I'm actually not quite sure why I chose this to be here. I think it was because I wanted to have something to like, oh, this can be like, you know, I can miniaturize it and then make it into something that I can grind into or pound it. I don't know, but I just think that's kind of cool. Or this can be like the, you know, the punishment table. It's like, yeah, how dare you, ninja loots, put your hand here, and then well, okay, whatever. So I think this one's very cool. I think what you can kind of do here as well, you can make it like kind of bigger, and then maybe obscure some of these, so you can have like a section of floor that has this, oh yeah, here's a grate, and then under this grate is like the, you know, the great unknown, if you wanted to obscure some of these, or you can just kind of leave these up as well. So the guillotine here is something that when we first learned about housing, or when we first started playtesting it, a lot of folks pointed this out as, hey, look, a convenient little guillotine kind of thing. And so I just wanted to point this out as to, hey, this is something that's made with engineering. It's going to take this many parts if you wanted to make one for yourself. So where would you put it though? Yeah, outside, I guess. Now this one I find to be a pretty cool effect. It's something you can just put onto like any wall, to just have like, hey, look, trains are going in, and then you can have like a string of these going along, so you can have the illusion as if like one train is like going across over and over again. Although the way the animations work, that's not going to work out, but who cares? This is kind of cool. So the mega coil is kind of a cool thing, at least I think it's a very cool thing to have as an accent of like anything mechanical that you might have placed anywhere, or something that at least looks mechanical. Like if you put this on top of anything, it becomes a machine. Oh, it's on a table, it's a machine now. Oh, it's on the wall. Okay, this whole wall is a machine now. Something like that. Oh, it's a lighting source. Sure. There's a lot of things you can do with this. So we got everyone's favorite thing in the world, anima, or it can be like a cool bottled beverage you can have on top of a table or in a cooler to sell to other people or something like that. It's just kind of a cool thing though. So this asset is pretty busted. I just want to like show it here first before I go into the 3D side of it. But this one, while there are a lot of folks that want to have like lighting effects that give the illusion of lighting coming from above, sometimes you just want to have something that's very plainly, yes, this is a light source and it's shining on this sort of thing. So someone who's doing like a fake streamer setup or whatnot, they might want to pick up, well, at least 2 of these, because you need to have like 2 sources of light if you want to look good. Well, anyway. So I think this one is going to be another big hit. There are other string lights that come from other sources that aren't crafted. I think there's one that comes from Borealis from Battle for Azeroth, if I recall correctly. But this kind of light combination, or this whole setup, is something that you'll only find with engineering if you wanted to make this. I think there are some other variants of this as well, so there might be more of these recipes coming, but you might want to pick up at least 1 or 2 of these for your setup, whether it's a interior setup or something exterior if they allow that, because otherwise it comes out pretty good. So this is another one of the few pink or draenei colored light sources you can have. You can flip this thing upside down if you wanted to, so you can have like this crystal fireplace, if that makes any sense at all. Or you can have it just kind of sticking out as like hey, I'm going through like this like crystalline cavern that's full of rocks and some other stuff, and you can have these like jutting out of it too. There's only so many windows that come from crafting, this being one of them, which makes it almost instantly popular. If it's something that happens to be pretty affordable to make and kind of small, and gives us the kind of colored light that you want, then this one could prove to be a really popular one that people will use not just as a window but as a light source. So here we have another wall and stone post. We're going to show the post first. This one is a Pandaren style, so people might want to pick up a whole bunch of these if they want to achieve a wall effect. And then here's the actual wall section you'd be working with. So unlike the Suramar one that we were looking at earlier, this one doesn't have an end to it. So if you want to, you can just have, you can just lay down one section, and then just like let there be gaps if you wanted to make that sort of effect. Or you can use the post to link them together to create a cleaner look, or heck, whatever post that you want. Now here's what I thought is also a pretty cool lamp, mostly because of the color. It's kind of a unique color from the other sources that we've seen that's a bit more of a reddish orange rather than a more yellow kind of light. And here's another kind of similar variation, this one with a little dangly thing or a tail at the bottom. Although now that I look back again, this one is supposed to be a sconce. The earlier one was a lamp, so that one was just meant to like stand on its own. But this one, I don't know, like part of me thinks, why don't I just pick up this one instead? So that way, if I wanted to make it into a lamp, then I'll just kind of like sink it in and that'll be just fine. And the other one is just kind of a nerf because it's not as versatile, right? So here we have another fence. And once again, this one includes the post. Here is the fence portion of the Valdrakken fence. And here's the post, which you can, use as a post, or you can have it like on the side as, again, a toilet paper holder, a towel rack, all sorts of things. So the Skullfire lamp I find to be like kind of cool as like kind of a centerpiece, not just like, multiple lights that you want to pick up. So you just want, if you want to just have like this big, whoa, check this out, that's cool. Although some of the assets, it kind of suggests that, okay, maybe having it be a little bit smaller would be just fine too. But at least the way the effects look here in the model viewer makes it seem like it's really, really bright. So I wonder if that's how it'll reflect in game. There are a lot of rugs, but there are only so many that come in an animal shaped form. Whether you want to like put this on, the floor, as you probably should, or if you want to, have it hanging on the wall, which is a little bit awkward, or if you want to show the underside, which is even more awkward, but hey, that's fine too. This is the scaled Twilight Mosaic, and it's very flat, so it can, be mostly a rug, but it's just very, very cool. It has, you can see it kind of has a certain shine to it. So it's the kind of thing that if you have a boss room in your house, you know what I mean? You have a boss room, this is the kind of thing that you want to have at the center, or like in a wall behind your throne or something like that. It's like, this is like a really cool effect that you can try to pull off. And now I have the Torrent fence post, which is, very similar, but it has a high-res feel, and you can tell this is coming from a Legion pattern, so this is not something 2004, but something that just is more like kind of a variant of it. And let's take a look at the leather fence to show what you would be linking together. So just have a bunch of these thrown together, and you can make your kind of Torrent home. Some folks like the gaudy goblin look. I happen to be one of them. I at least want to have one of these in the cafe to just kind of, feel kind of festive. And you know what? It's kind of cool because, like, okay, here we'll have the table, we'll have some books, people are sitting there, and you have natural reading lights right behind them. That's so smart, dude. See, goblins, they thought of everything. Again, there are only so many rugs, and this one isn't quite an animal skin rug, but it's sort of a piece of an animal skin rug. Now this banner, it feels like there's, multiple things that we could possibly do with these. I mean, maybe I'm not very imaginative, but you can have like one long one that goes across a room. You can have like several smaller ones. You can have this on like the side of a table. That'd be cool. That would be like really festive looking, or like the back of a chair, the front of a chair. It's just a cool little accenting thing that you can have hanging to enhance whatever it is that you place down. I think chances are good, even though this is kind of it says it's a Draenor pattern, but this looks like this has a 2004 or a TBC kind of feel to it, but still kind of cool. I'm sure people will want to at least like have one in their room to have like a cutesy little thing. And there are lots of other stuff things too, but this is the only Alec that I know about. And here's another plushie. This one happens to be from Legion, featuring the more cooler and awesomer dinosaur kind of creature, so I'm cool with this. So there are numerous banners that we see. Some of it's crafted, a lot of it will come from other sources, but this is one of the cooler ones. And I think like this is a very neat thing that you want to, probably at least have one of, to just kind of like highlight, if you're the type who wants to celebrate your history in the game. It's like, yep, once upon a time I helped the 5 flights, and we had our whole team friendship moment after the Farok cinematic. It was very cool. So here's a different kind of banner, this Xantrally tapestry. It's the kind of thing you can definitely hang more of without it feeling like it's overdone. Like the Valdrakken one, it's very cool, but it feels like you only need to have one. This is the kind of thing where you can have it like, line up the walls next to your throne room, or, you just have like multiples of these to accent your room. I'm going to take a guess here and say that this might be one of the more popular fence options that we're going to see, because it's very plain, it's very simple, it's got some like easy lines, and it just looks solid. It looks like a very complete piece. And here we have the other part of the fence post. That goes for this much. So again, when it comes to fence posts, like these are the things that crafters and buyers, they're going to consider. Okay, I think I do want to pick up like a good number of these, so there's going to be a lot of lumber farming in your near future. So here's what I think are one of the cooler bookcases out there. Now, the way it works, it's only meant to face one way, because it only has, it's not like open all the way through. You have like a clear backside to it. But the way it's shaped, it's made in such a way that you can just kind of have it stand on its own, kind of sort of. Or you can have like let's say you have like a shelf here, and you can have this thing against it, and then you can have things on top. That's fine too. But you can have it be other things too, right? Like you can like sync it through, so you can only show like this many things, and maybe have it phase through like a larger shelf, so that way you don't have to worry about this bottom part because it has the smaller footprint, and then just kind of show like this upper half instead. Or it can be the other way around. Maybe if you just want to show, maybe if this is like a hanging kitchen shelf, you just want to show like this part. That's something that's possible too. So as kind of a reminder, Inscription as a profession, it boasts the highest number of decor recipes, at least so far. It has at least double what the others have. Now, this particular bookcase, unlike the Cartel one, this one does have two sides to it. So you have this side that has books, you have this side that does not. So you can kind of like show off the side that you want to have, and then just kind of phase it through. So if you just want to show like this part, like that'll work just fine. Or you can have it be a double-sided thing, throw some books on there as well, and then you can kind of sort of maybe make a wall of it. At least the way the shape is, looking, maybe not, but you can possibly maybe take like pillars and obfuscate that instead and still pull off that effect. So for the Gilneas fans or the Gilneas haters, here's a map. It's not very high res. I hope that they would have like a better one out there, but it's, at least if it's like small, you can have it hanging on a wall or sitting on a desk or something like that. So scribes can make a number of books, and chances are pretty good that if you want to have like a library or a cafe with shelves or something like that, and you want to have books, you're going to be picking up like some variants of like all of them, like maybe 2 each or something like that. And Inscription can make several kinds. I'll just kind of go through these other ones here, and with all the recipe requirements, there's slight variations to it, but the fundamentals are pretty much the same. So if you want to pick up like different recolors, different styles, this works out. And you can see here, like they have like some slightly different variations of the patterns as well. Again, another reason for you to want to pick up multiple copies of these, so that way you can create this illusion of, it just be kind of unimmersive if everything happened to be like, oh, I just want like the same colors of everything because I just wanted to pick up the cheap stuff. You probably want to have like multiples of these. So here's another one of these bookcases, but in this case, I said case twice, it's a little bit less flexible. You can add some other books here, but they might not quite match the art. You can see that these are using like much sharper lines than other things that we've seen. So this might be something that'll mostly have to stand on its own, but it still works out just fine. And now we have the orc style fence. You got shiny metal, you got wood. It's a pretty solid piece. And then we'll look at the fence posts real quick. These are not so bad on the resource requirements. At least a lot of the stuff from Draenor, in my opinion, aren't too dependent on resources because we'll just be able to rely on the garrison to take care of most of our stuff. But if anything, this is one of those reasons to finally be out and about because we're picking up lumber. Although I have a feeling that we won't be able to use like our goblin shredder or something like that. We have another fence to look at. This one is from Zuldazar, which is kind of funny because I figured that would be made like out of like stone and rock or something like that, or it'd be like super gold and opulent. But this one is a bit more modest with its implementation, but still it's a solid piece to use as really like whatever you want. Like it's kind of, it's very flush together. So you can use these as, I can't even imagine. There's like a lot of things you can probably do with this sort of shape. But then here is the fence that we are working with. And this one does have a better flavor of what it is to be in like the Zandalari Empire because of the way these shapes work out. And that's it, actually. That is the entire list. Now, I did say that there were like 80 some odd items, but there are a few things here that I noticed. I'm like, oh, I accidentally added stuff that's from the current expansion. So like, for example, something like this, the animated Sandori hammer. This is made from Enchanting. You can see the resource requirements there, but it has like some obviously cool effects. So if anyone is like, hey, I'm like setting up my room or I'm building the house, but not everything's done, you can like throw these up somewhere as like placeholders, like, yep, room is still under construction, we still got stuff to do. So I'm going to leave those in there as a monument to me goofing and making a mistake. I just wanted to point it out here as kind of an oopsie. But if anything, take a preview as to like what other craftable things might be available that you might be interested in. And I think I would at least want to pick up like one of these. So, I would count these as, a popular item that I would at least want to have one of. But there are definitely differences. There are things like lighting that we may want more of. There are things like fences that we'll definitely want to use more of if we wanted to adopt that. So some fences might work out better than others. And things like food. I think hopefully by the end of this, you can kind of like create distinctions for yourself as to, what are things that I might want to get a whole bunch of, or what are things that I might want to get like one of, but, I don't think I need any more than that. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you want to have like more of these kinds of lists of highlights of decor to look at. I'd be happy to do more talks like these. And otherwise, like the video, subscribe for more stuff. Catch me live and I'll catch you later. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay breezy.